Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan, and in today's episode, we are going to be breaking down episode 16 of the Challenge Double Agents. I am joined by my lovely co-host. We have Nikki Sin.
Hi, it's me.
And back from parent-teacher conferences, we have Luke.
A plus teacher.
So over the last few weeks, I haven't had both of you at the same time. I've had one or the other a lot of the time, so I'm really glad to have both of you back in my life. You guys bring more to this podcast than the challenge producers are giving us content right now.
That is the truth.
That's a low bar, though. I'm like, compliment?
Start the bar low so you can always pass it.
Well, I'm happy we're back reunited, and it feels so good.
Yep. And so, Luke, what did you think about the episode from last week?
Not much. Not to continue the Anissa hate train, because, it should be over. She's gone. But she literally could not do the elimination. And then she's like, how does this happen? I always go home before the final. You couldn't run half a mile, which is 2 laps around the track. That's nothing. And you couldn't even propel yourself across a bar. But I'll leave it there. Maybe Anissa is in deep training right now. Probably not.
Yeah. With the Challenge All-Star season coming out tomorrow, that is, we lost her, but now she's right back. And it's, the hate train keeps going. It has a different direction now, but it's still the same train.
That woman, she never sleeps, but also never wins.
It's true. Someone did say Anissa's in her bag, though, this past year and a half. She's on a podcast that I'm sure she's getting paid a hefty check for to be on back-to-back challenge seasons, and then the first iteration of the Challenge All-Stars. Good for her.
Yeah.
And Drake likes her.
Yeah. It's good for her, man. Stay in your bag. I'm always supporting people, securing the bag. It's just, she's a mess. And she recently did a podcast with Bill Simmons' Ringer website where every question apparently she answered with either I don't know or contradicted the host and about their opinions of the show. And it just is the most Anissa thing ever, where after 14 seasons and 20 years, you can tell she doesn't have a grasp on the game. Now,
It's true.
It also speaks volumes about this episode in that we are still talking about Anissa, because there isn't a lot much to talk about in episode 16. But let's get into it. And we open with CT training Big T for the final. He kicks her in her bed, like really cute, and nudges her at 5 a.m. It's like, come on, we got to go run. And he puts Big T through the ringer. She's really tired, and then he tells her this is just a warm-up. It's a cute moment that would have been way cuter had he not ran away from her savagely weeks ago.
I really liked that Eye of the Tiger was playing. That was so key after I was so disappointed last week when they didn't play Free Fallin', when they were free falling. I'm like, okay, Danger Zone, I get it. Fair. What a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and speaking of missed opportunities, here's how I felt about it. Why did you start trying to train her so close to the end? He got her relatively soon. It just showed me he had no intentions of keeping her. And now that he is pretty much stuck with her, it seems, he's like, okay, now I should try. It's too late. You can't train somebody for a 5K a week in advance. They're going to struggle. Something else I noticed, though, I loved it. I love that he's being supportive again. I don't know if it's for the cameras or not. But Big T, you can just tell by her mannerisms, she's not someone who's naturally athletic, but she is somebody that has the drive to be successful in athletic type of realms. So I thought that was really cool to see. But when she was kicking up onto I guess the little deck or steps, I was like, she is not athletic. God love you, Big T.
She has a really, really good run face. Really good face when running. And sometimes that's more the key than being an actual good runner. Because sometimes someone will just look gassed, oh man, that guy's dying right there. But they're actually killing a run. So Big T at least has the run face down.
I thought that whole scene was so heartwarming, but again, to pick up off of what Luke said, CT started that training way too late, and he sort of made it seem like it was like her fault that she was starting that training too late. And I think also, as someone who is not athletic at all, myself, I would have maybe tried to have someone else train with her, like someone who is in like a comparable size wise, or like I don't know, like Nani. Nani doesn't do the same training as CT.
That's true. Nani's like 5'8", has run a final before, and ran like track in high school. So it's not apples to oranges. So if Gabby or Amber M still existed, I see what you're saying, but like Big T is in a league quite literally of her own now.
I would agree with that, but I will give her credit again here. She never once complained. She got out of bed at 5:01 because that was the very specific time, and she was like, "Okay, I'll do it."
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Same.
He's like, it's 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. It's so early. CT's like, no, it's actually late. And I was like, if you're up all night, yeah.
If anything, I'm kind of shocked that we don't see more of this. I think of Rivals 2, when Wes, CT, Kara, and Cook would have their little running club, and you would just see them all season running around the house to prep for the final. And then the final came around, and Wes and CT torched Johnny and Frank, who were like great cardio people, because they'd been running all season. Why don't we see this more every season? Like, why isn't Fessy running around if he thinks he's the top dog?
I totally agree, and it also kind of makes me think of War of the Worlds 2, when, although I hate to even say her name, when Ninja had everybody doing like meditation together. That's a good part of training. I don't know. I just like when like players will do activities like that to train for the final.
Better example, because we don't like Ninja Natalie on this podcast.
Okay, better.
Nehemiah having Wes and Kenny meditate before Rivals 1, because we like Nehemiah much more than Ninja Natalie. So that's like, let's rebrand it into the Nehemiah meditation zone.
Well, I was going to give the example of, D, so let me not give that one, how she like died on World of Worlds 2, trying to train with Tori. But yeah, let's keep it Nehemiah.
Yeah. We're going to move into the daily challenge portion now. But yeah, we got a heartwarming scene with CT and Big T training. Just wish it happened a little earlier.
Yeah.
Moving into the daily challenge portion, and the players had to go into giant hamster balls in rounds of 3. They would go against 2 defenders, where there were little checkpoints on the ground where when they hit the checkpoint, steam would shoot into the ball, and it looked like a whole lot of fun. This was a ripoff of an American Gladiators game from the 80s/90s called Atlasphere. The only difference is technology is a little bit better now, because back in the day, the players would run over like the checkpoints, and like the detector would not count their points, and it would not shoot steam in them. So technology has advanced.
That was a nice tidbit, actually, because I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but they stole it, thieves.
Yep.
But yeah, the rules, so I was like, okay, this could be interesting to watch.
I didn't super understand them at first, because like once they started like tallying up all the like checkpoints they had hit, I was like, how are there so many? And I realized they can just like go over.
I thought the same. I was like, so they can get like 2 out of 9 or like 3 out of 9, but yeah, they can go back over them. That's what I didn't understand at first either. I also, I understand that the double agents get to choose, like, or they get to have power, but like that's a huge bit of power that Casey and Leroy got this week to be able to be offense twice.
Yeah, and also like, why would TJ even think they were gonna pick another pair?
I guess the other side of the coin is that like in their second round they might be gassed out, so they might not even do as well. But yeah, it's a huge advantage to win the previous daily challenge, and I don't know. Maybe pick a different daily challenge if you don't want it to be this way, because it has to be 3 against 2 both rounds. I was trying to figure out how they could have worked around this, and this was the best solution, I guess.
The first thing I thought... Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I was thinking do it last week when it could be 3 versus 3. But then I guess you could have like one person gang up on one other person, so like nobody could get over the censor. So I get where it has its flaws both ways, but you know, I like Casey and Leroy. I just was like, oh, well, this is probably gonna go their way.
Yeah, and especially like physically, I think that Cam and Corey were great in there. With Casey and Leroy, and then Amber and Kyle. But Fessy's like a much bigger dude than Nani, and like CT's much bigger than Big T. So I just like imagined them like just falling immediately, and just those two like Thor stomping over them.
Fessy just could not like communicate well. Like him and Nani did really well. They got a lot. Actually, for a little bit, it's like, oh, they're gonna win. But he does not care about anyone but himself.
No, he doesn't. He like forgets that he has a partner all the time. He was probably like in that ball and he's like, oh, something hit my arm. Oh, Nani. Right.
He's so dang introverted. He really couldn't stand to be there with anybody else.
Such an introvert.
I was shocked to see that Casey was the one person that like took a tumble because she's very athletic and her and Leroy have been working well together.
Yeah.
I will say that when researching that old American Gladiators game, it was even 3v2 in that format. So the producers were definitely like watching American Gladiators was like, oh yeah, we definitely need to use it at this point in the game in this style. In the first round, we had, as we said, Leroy, Casey, Fessy, Nani, and CT and Big T going against the defenders that were Corey, Cam, and Kyle and Amber. Corey and Cam, their goal was to defend CT and Big T because they can't let CT win.
That all seemed like unfair to me. Like, I know there was nothing that could be done about how unfair it was, but I was like, they're just gonna pick on them.
Yeah, and this is not really, I mean, it's on the same topic, but I feel like when the producers are like, oh, let's make this a daily challenge, I don't enjoy watching it when I can't see what's going on. It just looked like 5 balls just rolling around, like couldn't tell who's in it except for like the little infographics that come up. It just wasn't enjoyable for me to watch.
I don't like when they periodically tell you like people's scores. Like I can't spoil it to them about who won. It's already filmed. Can you just like have a tracker in the corner so I can see what's going on? Just like literally anything. It looked like TJ was standing there for, I don't know, 45 minutes per round. He's just holding the horn. He wasn't even watching, I don't think.
Falling asleep.
Yeah, he's like.
You just think about the difference between him and Jeff Probst, where Jeff Probst is yelling, just giving you live updates like, oh, here comes Kyle bumping into Fessy. Here comes Fessy bumping into Kyle. TJ's like, I don't even know these people's names. Like, if Big T asked me what her actual first name was, I would have no clue.
Tula.
That's TJ.
That's TJ.
Yeah, that's TJ Lavin. He has no clue. He thinks Anissa's great at the challenge. He's
the host of a show he doesn't watch. What I like about Jeff Probst is that he's so cutthroat. He'd be watching, like, okay, he's like, well, Amber B, that's why you can't find a man. Let's go faster.
Yeah,
DT,
I don't think
this is why you and your wife split up for a bit.
Oh gosh, Lillianette.
I'm thinking about that Amber versus Amber elimination where he'd just be like, oh man, Purple Amber just dropped her ball.
And what's funny is that Purple Amber is the Amber that's still in the game. TJ does not have that in his wheelhouse.
No.
Sometimes I wonder if he's even like there during filming.
This is a strange tidbit, but I feel like people will enjoy to hear it. I remember I was keeping up with spoilers for a season, and I think it might have been War of the Worlds 1. And I knew that the final was being ran on a certain day because of like spoilers. And TJ went live on Instagram and was playing piano for like an hour and a half. And I was like, why aren't you there? Like, what are you supposed to be doing right now? But they probably started like some part of it. And he's like, I've got 2 hours to kill. Let me go live on Instagram.
I'm just imagining his like back double. Because, you know, sometimes they'll show him like explaining the rules or like, you know, giving them a stern talking to. And I'm like, I know this is a voiceover.
Right.
It's very clear that's what it is.
There have been less voiceovers this season, so good job on TJ for, getting that done. But I will say the first episode of the new show opens up with a hard voiceover that's very rough. The sound editing is not great in that, so you just know he's not there.
It's like you can faintly hear TJ say, "We want OGs." I'm like, wait, scrap that. All stars.
Well, what was the season recently? It was War of the Worlds 2, where it was supposed to be bloody hell.
And you have all the confessionals from the cast being like, "This is bloody hell," and it's like, why are they using this unironically? And it's like, oh, because they were going to call the season that. Okay.
And then the trash that was Total Madness. Wasn't it supposed to be War of the Worlds 3? And then World War 3 almost happened, and they were like, "Oh, this probably isn't a good idea." I'm like,
Battle for Independence. Because I remember there was like a Sprint commercial that was like, "Welcome back," or "You're about to be back to the Battle of Independence in 60 seconds." And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Suffice to say, Fessy did really well in this daily challenge with Nani going really fast. I forgot we were talking about the daily challenge. I'm sorry.
That's how bad this episode was. We got off on TJ, Jeff Probst, a Sprint commercial. Forgive me, but come on, people that are listening, you had to have suffered through this like we did.
This is more entertainment. This episode of Caffeine Confessionals is more entertainment than that episode was.
Truly, truly. And like round 2 of it, because I mean, we kind of like left off on round 1. Round 2, Casey Leroy again. Nobody was trying to defend against them because they were like, oh, we'll get these other people. So it was pretty clear to me, like, okay, well, Casey and Leroy have a really great chance if all they have to do is like roll back and forth and no one's trying to knock them away from the censors.
Yeah, what was CT and Big T's plan there? They're like, oh, we got to stop Cam.
It was short-sighted. It was just essentially that. And I think they expected that Fessy and Nani will play defense on both teams for some reason, which is dumb as hell. Kyle and Amber probably were the best team in this challenge because they had someone playing committed defense on them the entire time, and they still came up one checkpoint short of Casey and Leroy, who would go on to win the daily challenge. Casey and Leroy, 5th daily challenge win of the season. As I mentioned last week, Leroy, in 7 previous partner seasons, won a total of 4 daily challenges. So he broke his career total in 1 season. Speaks volumes about Casey as a partner as well. They are on a roll.
She's officially my second favorite partner of his. Mike is my favorite. Mike's my favorite.
Love Mike. I'll be honest with you, and it might be just that Casey's kind of evolved or that she's paired with Leroy, and I've always liked Leroy. I genuinely don't dislike her this season, and she's provided more than just like instructions for the viewers. It's really impressive. It's really impressive, and I think it speaks merit to, having a good partner can make you last the whole season and possibly win a final. At this point, I would love to see them win the final together.
I wonder if Casey's like standing out more because Amber is such wallpaper.
Probably.
So like a contrast there, like the IKEA furniture stands out because of the wallpaper.
Yes, and you actually just opened the floodgates. I'm going to really quickly crap on Amber B. The only interesting thing she did was impersonate Fessy. This isn't even crapping on her. This is me praising her. She impersonated Fessy during the daily challenge, and she like even made his face. But now I'm going to crap on her and be like, girl, what did you expect to happen? Them to just let you and Kyle win? That's who everybody wants to go against. Like, probably Big T, yes. But if you're thinking like, we don't know if it's guy or girl day, you guys are the team. They're not going to give you any favors. He's not going to screw over Casey.
If anything, Amber should have been like strategizing much better with her Big Brother alliance to be like, listen, I don't want my partner and I to go in. Like, is there a way that we can, like, let's get CT in there instead? She should have been putting in some sort of work.
The blonde loyalty was weird though, because like I know that Fessy and Casey did not work together on their Big Brother season, but like they definitely did on Total Madness. Like, no doubt about it. They definitely are better friends. They hang out in Miami. In fact, had they not done that, Casey would have been on Big Brother 22. Like, Amber B, they're not going to do any favors. And Corey and Fessy are boys. Like, I guess they got over the whole Nelson issue. But, like, so that's my boy, that's my boy. They're not going to save you.
I don't know when all these people, like, got over all these, like, several issues. Like, Kyle's like, CT's my boy in the house. And I'm like, What? Did I miss an episode?
Right. But no, the episodes missed us because they were just out there.
Like, did Josh write them? He's like, yeah, so I have a rivalry with Wes. And now all these are gone. It's funny because we think that Josh can write.
Probably better than Fessy.
Oh my god.
Little ravioli hand. Dear Santa.
So back on subject. Kyle and Amber, heart-wrenching loss for them because I think I never thought they'd win a daily challenge together, and they almost did. So good for them. Leroy and Casey continue to be dominant, and it's a death sentence for the Big TCT Amber Kyle teams, and we're going to talk about that right now. Switching over into the gameplay portion. Moving into the gameplay portion, let's start off with Amber B. As we talked about earlier, she's on the outside of the Big Brother Alliance now because Kyle is her partner. They want to throw Kyle in. And it's also like Cam, Nani, and Casey. That's a trio along with Leroy and Fessy. Like they're staying loyal to one another. It's funny because I think Fessy called her entitled, and it's just like Fessy of all people calling her entitled was the funniest thing ever when he's anointing himself the king of the challenge these days. But he is right. Like Amber had a meal ticket. She got to Final 5 at this point based on being on a Big Brother season in the past. Not even the connection she had like really going in that much, but just based on the fact that she's been on Big Brother. And now she has to actually play the game.
Yeah, and for those who might not know, which if you don't know, catch up, but it's not even like their original Big Brother season was together. They probably met for the first or maybe second time in this house and just made the deal like, hey, we're on the same show, let's ride this out. That's not even something that Are You the One people do at this point. That's, we've not seen enough Survivor people. They probably would have. But they have longer lasting relationships with other people. Casey and Nani, I'm not going to divulge into that, but we know they had their little tryst last season. Fessy is good friends with Corey. They hang out outside of the challenge. They work out together and they're at the same place. She was entitled. And it is ironic because Fessy's also entitled. But he had a point.
I feel like she could have really pufferfished at him. I would have been like, well, Fessy, you want Kyle and I to go down against CT. I thought that you were better than CT. Don't you want to take on the big dog? Don't you want to earn that title?
I agree completely. His excuse would have been, well, we don't know if it's guys day or girls day. Like, I'm not going to do it to my partner, Nani. But
okay, then why are you putting me in?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that was very smart. I didn't think that through. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not defending Amber. I'm not like...
She did have some, a couple oblivious moments. One of them being, she's like, I don't know why Casey won't do this for me. I gave her her shot. I gave her her gold skull. And it's like, dude, you asked her if she would be willing to go against Teresa, who was one of the 3 strongest women in the house and the biggest threat in a final. And Casey, because she's just a straight up boss, is like, yeah, sure, I'll take out Teresa because I'm Casey and I'm awesome.
Yeah, and that was Amber's opportunity to go down. She was like, Casey, do you want to do it? Because I'm too scared.
Exactly. Although the next week, because I have that great memory when it comes to Amber B. Not Amber, Amber B. She was like, I probably could have won that. I'm so upset. No, you couldn't have. Teresa would have worn you out.
Teresa with 1 hip is destroying you. Not even with 2 hips. With 1 hip, you're done.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh, I gave Casey her shot of the show at a school. Casey's won 5 challenges, bro. She can go down whenever she wants. And it's just like she also, when she would get voted in later in the episode, Amber said like, oh, I'm tired of all my Big Brother alliances blindsiding me. Why am I not important? Like, first off, Gabby put you in because you turned your back on the itty bitty committee, on that rookie girl alliance, and your punishment was you had to face Amber M in Hall Brawl, which you got your gold skull in. That's kind of like when your parents ground you. You're like, oh, I guess I'll just stay in my room and play video games.
Right. It's not a punishment. Yeah.
I feel like Amber thinks there's so much bigger of a connection or friendship with a challenge alliance, and it's like no. Had she been able to survive long enough in Big Brother, she would have realized that alliances like only get you to a certain point. Like there's only one winner.
Right.
So she was always at the bottom of that totem pole. When they have Josh's back over yours.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
that's true. And I understand her need to scrap. I'm not going to like completely disregard her feelings, but I agree with what Nikki said previously. Like she should have tried a different tactic. Like setting and gloating and being upset is not going to work because Casey was like, girl, it's the game. Like this is what we're here to play for. She congratulated her for making it so far as a rookie. That's amazing, but it's the game.
And Casey had a great confessional too, where she was like laughing, like, "Dude, you're just not at the top of my list." And like I was like, "That's a great case." Like I've never seen Casey show that much as much as she did as explaining like why Amber B is in the position she is in. After Leroy and Casey get the win, Kyle and CT and Big T and Amber were like, "Well, I guess we had to create a 4-4 tie. We have to vote in Fessy and Nani, and they're gonna vote in one of our teams." And we'll find out what happens in the case of a tie. Then CT pulls a fast one on Kyle and throws Kyle into elimination.
After foiling their master plan.
Right. Kyle's an idiot for this because CT was like, hey, like I'm going to make a big scene and say that I'm voting you. So like they'll all vote you, but like maybe somebody will like give a stray vote to someone else. It's like, Kyle, how do you not know what's going on here?
I mean,
it was
I
smart
for it.
Well, I mean, I kind of did too. So let me not be like a hypocrite. But once they were in there and I saw CT's mind working, I'm like, yeah, why would he not save himself?
Yeah.
But then again, he knew that whoever didn't get voted in would be put in by Leroy and Casey. So I don't know. He should have just seen what happened. Actually, I backtrack completely.
It came down to the fact that CT like just didn't want to face Fessy in elimination, and that's it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, CT would murder Fessy because he's CT, he's the OG king. We saw with the Corey and Darrell elimination that speed can kill, and CT is 40 years old. Fessy's still in his prime athletically, and he's the fastest guy in the house. He's even faster than Corey. So if they play reverse tug of war, and it's not a reverse tug of war, and Fessy beats him in a sprint, or even a hall brawl where CT has heart, but if Fessy gets down the hallway, like much further than him, that he could get the win. I don't know.
I would venture to say though, if it would be Fessy versus CT, it'd be a puzzle, and the puzzle would be Tamburello. That's what it would be.
Another tangerine puzzle?
Right.
But it's interesting because both of them last week at the party, before that wig came off, they're screaming at each other, but like how one's better than the other. Like, oh, like I could take you, okay. So let's see it then.
Yeah, take them on.
Like CT doesn't want to go against Fessy. Fessy doesn't want to go against CT. So why did I have to watch that whole argument last week?
Well, CT did take his wig off at least. That was a good reality TV moment.
Yeah, I also got a really good screenshot of Fessy's secondary lacking department. So he can't write, and I gotta squint a bit.
Oh, uh-oh.
Let me just throw that shade.
I'll say when it comes to like the voting and not knowing if it's a girls' day or guys' day, which at this point it's followed a pretty routine like structure, like guy, girl, guy. Them not knowing kind of takes away some of the like gameplay, in that if they knew that it was going to be a girls' elimination for this week, it probably still would have been Amber B versus Big T, but like not necessarily. Cam could have been like, okay, put in Amber B and I might take out her if it's something physical. Okay. Which she would have seen that hall brawl and been like, okay, put me in, I can take her out. Could have totally changed the trajectory of the game had they just known for sure. Because all the weeks too, when you had double agents who teaches like, do you guys want to volunteer to go in? If one person had a skull, it made no sense to volunteer if you didn't know if it were guy or girl day. I kind of wish we had known and they had known like, hey, it's a girl's day. Think strategically. Yep. Think smart.
The skull's got to go. All those the skull thing has got to go. It's
played out.
It's had its run. I'm Chico.
And here we are talking about other stuff that's on the show because there was hardly any gameplay. Like nothing was given to us this season or this episode.
This is our gameplay.
Right.
I do find it funny though that every season that Kyle and CT do together, I think of World of Worlds 2, where Kyle got voted in by CT. Kyle thought they were an alliance, and CT calls him a snake, and Kyle's like shocked. you, you fast forward to this season, CT steals Kyle's partner. Kyle thinks they're an alliance, and he's shocked, and CT curses him out, calls him a snake while eating cold cuts in the kitchen. And now we go back to this week, and CT once again gets one over on Kyle, and Kyle's shocked. Like, bro, where aren't you getting? This guy does not like you.
Yeah, CT is one of the few people that is able to be successful as a lone wolf, and because people are scared of him. But like Kyle, you're not a weak dude, but you're a smaller dude in terms of like muscle mass. You know, CT can rely on his muscle mass and even his name. You can't do that, Kyle.
All the Brits should have got together.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do that? Gabby could have had Fesky keep Kyle safe. Big T. I think I ran out of Brits.
Liv, if she could have stayed, yeah.
Sorry, we got barely any Brits this season. It was not. Maybe that's why this season's laughing a bit. Yeah, that's the gameplay portion. We're gonna move into the elimination portion itself right now. Moving into the elimination portion, and of course, it's going to be CT and Big T versus Amber and Kyle. Kyle at first is like, well, I beat CT in a physical elimination before. Let's get it on. And then TJ says, it's a girl's day. And then he just puts out a sigh of relief because it is a hall brawl. And we are seeing Amber B once again go against a 5'2" girl who's 100-ish pounds in a hall brawl. It's not a good look for either person, in my opinion, because you don't gain much from winning, and nobody wants to see Big T lose because Big T is awesome.
Right.
You stand Big T.
TJ tried to play one of his little tricks again. It's a day for the men. Dun, 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 to watch the women. It's like, please give it up. You infuriate me. But yeah, seeing them stand next to each other, I'm like, this is almost a repeat of Amber M.
Yeah. And
at least we didn't have to watch. At least we didn't have to watch them get gassed going back and forth, like with the two Ambers. It was just a straight up hall brawl, which is a better format. I mean, the other idea is like cute, but it's not. It doesn't make for a good hall brawl.
We also had to watch. What was it? An hour and 45 minutes of a montage of Big T training for it. It felt like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, they were running out of content for sure. And CT was like, use what we did. And I was really hopeful. I'm like, well, maybe she can. Maybe because she's not big at all, but she is stocky. Totally, I'm like, she could go low and like get her knees. Because I mean, Amber B is like built like a gazelle.
This could have been worse. It could have been worse had they not done that training. Round 1 starts, and Amber's a lot faster than Big T. Big T's just not fast. And they meet in the middle. They're both tackling each other up high in a way that you're not supposed to in a hall brawl. Someone says like, "Oh yeah, Big T's getting low." I'm like, Big T's just short. She's not really getting low. She's just
standing.
Yeah, that's just her.
She's existing merely.
I mean, she got a little bit low, but not like the low that she needed to. Held out for a bit, then they release each other and they go for the bells. Amber beats her pretty, definitely, just pretty healthy win.
Yeah, her stride alone is what got her that. I mean, she's a tall girl with long legs.
I think Big T held her own a bit though.
No, I agree. I think if well, I almost said if it were a longer distance, that's probably not true. But Big T did hold her own. I just think when it came down to the run, the height is what really mattered there to get to the bell, and that screwed her.
Round 2 happens. I think Big T puts up a slightly better fight. Even then, this isn't her game. Amber B gets the win pretty easily, 2-0. I think when they have the sparks flying, when both of them hit the button, the thing explodes. It just, you could tell that Amber B was already done by the time Big T hit her button. Like she was far away from the hall brawl area.
She was already celebrating.
Yeah. Amber B 2-0 in eliminations. It reminds me a lot of It reminds me a lot of Brittany Thornton from Dirty 30, where she beat Nicole Ramos and Brianna LaQuesta. And it's like, look at her, rookie girl, 2 elimination wins. I'm like, they weren't, I mean, yeah, I mean, congrats on winning, but neither of them are good wins.
Right. It'd be different if Amber B took out Cam in Hall Brawl. People would be like, oh my God, like what the heck? But yeah, she took out 2 tiny girls in Hall Brawl.
Big T just took out Anissa.
Right.
Which, although we rag on her, it's impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Anissa should have the skill set that, a 14-time challenger should have.
But she didn't train to be hung up.
I heard that a podcast said that Big T, it was unfair because Big T took a pole dancing class, and as we said, Anissa was a stripper for 15 years, so I think Anissa had the advantage there.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, what?
Also unfair. Like stripper privilege?
It's a new thing.
As if they told all the other challengers, like, okay, we're telling everyone this. You are not allowed to do any pole dancing class. And I'm like, okay. And then I told Big T, except you.
And do it the other way.
Yeah.
Do it horizontally.
Legit question. After watching Gabby's elimination with Nany, do you think Gabby could, even because Gabby is of similar size to Big T and Amber, do you think she could beat Amber B in a Hall Brawl?
I think Gabby could have. Simply because she trains, she's more of an athlete, and not that Big T doesn't have heart, but I think that too many Ambers, I think that Gabby's so stocky, like genuinely muscularly stocky, she could have like trailed through, and that would have been more intimidating to Amber B.
I was thinking about how, and I don't know if this is an opinion everyone's going to agree with. I think Big T could have taken out Anissa in a Hall Brawl.
No.
I don't think so.
Because Anissa put up a good fight against Laurel.
How many years ago?
That's also true.
I
think that Anissa, she has the size advantage there. And I also think that Anissa is more like gritty when it comes to physical eliminations. Like she knows how to work somebody, whereas Big T doesn't.
What I was thinking was that one, every time Anissa goes in to an elimination, she's like given up. She's like, nope, this is what always happens to me, so I guess I'll just accept my fate. And I think that also in her brain, she'd be like, well, Big T's so small. There's no way I'm not going to win this.
That's also fair. I still think Anissa, though, would plow over her, sadly.
I think Anissa would beat Amber B. I think
so too.
Because she's got a lot of weight on these women. And she could just, she's tackled people before. She choo-chooed Jenna on Dirty 30.
But Tori took out Jenny in a Hall Brawl.
Tori, but we're talking about like a 10-pound difference between they're about the same weight. Tori has Tori has broad shoulders. She's 5'8" with broad. She doesn't have.
5'8". She looks small. Well, I guess everyone looks small on a screen.
Tori's a college soccer player, dude. As much as we rag on Tori has a good build, like a good build for a headbanger.
I listened to a podcast after that elimination, whenever that was, and Jenny even said, like, yeah, I'm muscular. Yeah, I'm strong. I should have beat her, but you can't underestimate someone being a lifelong athlete. And that's even, Tori was still working out in very good shape then, but like she wasn't as big as she is now. She just knew what to do and how to like maneuver a person's body to get them down and get through them.
And she had Jordan yelling at her, so.
Very intimidating.
For her, yelling for her.
Yeah, she just always had that natural size, even from her Are You the One season, where it's something where she hasn't been like the most secure about. But in a headbanger, just that build is different. It's different from everyone else. It's
not as good as her rap career.
No. Amber B gets the win, and it just sucks because Big T has been a definitive star this season. Her confessionals kill it. Her heart in the challenges. And Amber B is the antithesis of that. She is not on camera. She does not bring much to the show. No drama, no confessionals. Beautiful girl, nice person. It just from a TV perspective, it hurts.
I have an unpopular opinion, but I think this was probably the best thing to happen to Big T for this season. she had her star moment. She literally was, I would say, the star of the season. Like, lovable. I have friends that casually watch and they're like, whoa, Big T is amazing. Love her, all that. I think what this season did, which will help propel her in future seasons, it showed her, hey, you need to work on your cardio and you need to work on your strength training. Okay, because you can win eliminations, you can win dailies, you can be a good partner, you can be a good team player, things she might have thought she was lacking in before. I just feel like if she'd made that final, it might have been a little too humiliating and it might have maybe changed the narrative. Whereas now she can go back home and be like, hey, I did pretty dang well, better than I've done on my past 2 seasons. And when I come back next season, I know exactly what to expect and know who Big T is.
And she's got like a really solid fan base, both on the show and off the show. Like, everybody on Twitter is like, I'm accepting no Big T slander. Absolutely none. Like, Nani gave her a great confessional talking about like what a fantastic challenger she is and like how far she's come. And you'll notice nobody was like, oh, thank God you're back, Amber. Whew.
Yeah.
Good job. They're all like, okay, Big T.
Sean Fennessy, who is like one of the like most noteworthy like film critics and like writing editors of the last decade, he tweeted like this week or just a few days ago, the best TV character right now is Big T, and like that just like he's like a casual challenge fan, and he tweeted that out like Big T is and she's awesome, and like people were just tweeting in agreement like, yeah, Big T, like the casual fandom loves her. And I agree with Luke. Not going to the final, like the what could have been is sometimes better than what we actually could have seen. And I think Devon on War of the Worlds 1 is a very similar case where like people talk about her like, oh, she deserved that final, etc., etc. But like Devon has asthma, and I don't think she would have done well in that 36-mile final if like people like Georgia and Hunter and Cara Maria were struggling. Like as much heart as she has, like it's probably better for her legacy that she didn't die out in a final.
Right. And in the case of her, it's probably better to have that nostalgic, like, well, she was higher up on the net than Maddie, like that, like, desire to see her back again. Because, yeah, that final was hard as crap. I don't think we've seen a final that hard since.
Except they say every season that this is the hardest final we've ever seen. I'm like, this season, this is the hardest final this season.
Right.
And it's TJ's final, so why doesn't he run that final? Why don't you get in this canoe, have it flip over? Somebody yelling at you.
Because he's got to play piano while they're running it.
That's true. And record his voiceovers. I'm not shading TJ Lavin, by the way. I absolutely would not be doing any of these. I don't do these finals.
We're just going after TJ's throat because we had nothing to do for this episode. And but maybe the most interesting part is that after the elimination, Amber picks Fessy, which is a smart choice because it switches things up. And then Nani, oh man,
Nani.
I will say, when Nani had the choice in my brain, I was like, Kyle, I'm coming home. I thought she was going to mimic what he did to her just a few weeks earlier, but I was like, wait, no, that's the dumb move. You want to keep Kyle in the game because he's less of a threat than CT. Like, you guys have been trying to get CT out the whole game. And she picks Kyle as a partner because she's like, oh, me and Kyle, we have fun. We're going to go to the final together. Like, no, you're not. Kyle's going into elimination against Leroy, Fessy, or Corey next week.
And here's the thing. Even though they've been trying to get CT out all season, Nani, I'm like, girl, CT has won 3 of these before. He won 2 seasons ago. Pick him. Even if they throw him into elimination, like, he's probably going to win. But then I guess that takes in he might switch. But I still think, I still know, I'm not even going to think, picking CT is the better option.
Yeah.
It is.
For everyone except for CT.
Right.
And
in
that moment,
just sign that check over to him.
Yeah, it was an all-time dumb move. That even Casey, who never says anything, was like, that was so dumb. She was just like, why would we do that? Like, what has this whole game been for if we're just going to hand CT the final? And CT even knew it, and Kyle especially knew it. And she's like, oh, Kyle, don't you love me? And Kyle was just like, no, I don't. I hate this right now.
Yeah.
I hate you. And deservingly so. He had a spot in the final, and she took it from him. Just right then and there.
Where's all this fun coming from? Because I've seen them do a total of 2 fun things.
Yeah.
They had an 80s party, and they went to some hot springs. What do you mean fun? You're not like changing rooms. You're not like, handcuffed to each other. This doesn't change the dynamic of like fun in the house.
I will say, as someone who's been watching Temptation Island, and Luke can agree, sometimes, when you have that separation, you realize what you had. And that was like, he's like, oh my God, I had to deal with Fessy. I had to deal with the goof. Like, Kyle really was good to me. We did have fun. I just didn't realize it because I thought I had something better, but he was the best thing. It really is like a rom-com plot, but in this rom-com, Kyle's going to die.
Yeah,
But
and
you
I
could
think
still hang out with them.
right, I agree. In Nani's defense, I think that she is thinking, oh, I'll keep Kyle safe because I'm in with Leroy, Casey, and Cam. But she's not considering that, like, the other option's Fessy. Fessy can probably take out just about anybody. And while she knows she's safe because it was just a girls' week, like, she screwed Kyle badly.
I just realized something. Nani can still get CT next week because whoever faces Kyle, if Kyle wins or loses, he's going to pick a new partner. He's going to pick a Casey or a Cam. If that happens, Nani has first choice, so she can pick CT or whoever's partner gets eliminated. Which maybe, she could still get him, but I don't think Nani thought about that.
I'm glad you did, though, because I'm seeing the different avenues this could take. But yeah, I think Nani in the moment was like, let me get away from Fessy. Kyle, I like you. Don't really have that much of a personal bond with CT at this point.
I would have been like bargaining with them, like blackmailing one of them right there. I'd be like, listen, whichever one of you I don't pick is pretty much automatically in the final. So what are you going to do for me? Why shouldn't I choose you?
Yeah.
TJ being like, just pick one. Shh, let me do my thing.
They were yelling at her like, pick him, don't pick me.
But I mean, like, I don't know. I went really Kyle snaky there. $1 million? Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Get us to the final. I'm ready for the final.
When's the final? I'm thinking about when the final is.
It has to be. We're getting 2 more episodes this season at least, and then we got an all-star season, which I recommend you all watch because I've seen, and the first episode is fantastic, and you're gonna love it. Get Paramount Plus. We'll be doing some coverage of it. I don't know if we're gonna be doing podcast episodes, but we'll be doing some coverage on it on this channel. I agree. Get us to the final.
I'm making a face because I'm located in Canada. And Paramount Plus is not available in Canada. So there's that.
That's really unfortunate.
You don't want my money?
Right. And for everybody, like I've seen the Facebook people on like the challenge comments, like, I will not be paying for Paramount Plus because like it should be on MTV. Please understand that Paramount Plus is a new thing. They're trying to get in viewers and you can get a deal to get it for $50 a year. That's like cheap. So like $4 a month if my math's correct, and it's probably not, so don't comment being like, Luke's an idiot. I know. It's pretty cheap. Just get it. Watch it.
Why? But it just doesn't make sense to me why it wouldn't be offered to Canadians. I'll pay the US price. That's more money for me.
Maybe they want you to come here first and become a citizen. I don't know.
I heckin' can't.
Or
Corona.
Through our sponsor, Surfshark VPN, you could get a VPN, and you. Just kidding, we are not sponsored.
And Nikki would never do that anyways.
I definitely don't use a VPN.
I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode more than the actual episode because I did recording it.
There's that low bar again.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, caffeineconfessionals.com, YouTube Caffeine Confessionals, Nikki on Twitter at the Nikki Sin, Allan at the Allan Geary. And that's about it. We get,
Luke's here.
I'm here.
Yeah. Come back for Luke on the podcast.
Exclusive, exactly.
And
like Paramount Plus.
Have a great day, everyone. Let's get to the final.